What I do want to raise, Ceann Comhairle, is a matter that I raised last week with the Taoiseach, and which is on the order paper today, and that's the question of the vaccination programme for cervical cancer for young girls. This programme was announced by the Minister for Health last August. This programme involves vaccination where there is clearly medical evidence of prevention and, as a consequence, life-saving. The cost is €10 million. Now, members on your own side, Taoiseach, notably Deputy McDaid and Minister McGuinness, and indeed the Minister for Health herself at different times, have called for cross-party agreement on the issue of health. I don't really want to divide the House this evening on a matter where there is incontrovertible evidence that the vaccination programme announced by the government in August and now being withdrawn actually saves lives. So the cohort of young girls across the country who were to be vaccinated under this programme, a number of those young girls in years to come will inevitably die because of cervical cancer. Now, the Minister for Health says it's either the vaccination programme or the cervical screening programme. It's not, Taoiseach. It's both. In this case, €10 million is what's required. I note that the drugs companies have said that they would defer acceptance of payment until next year if that were appropriate. The cost, therefore, would be €30 per pupil in administrative costs. You're going to spend over 10 million this year on advisors and press departments and whatever else. That's the cost of the entire programme. So can I just ask you, do you accept as Taoiseach and as Deputy Cowan that this vaccination programme actually works and that it has the capacity to save lives in years to come? And can I ask you, therefore, to review this during the course of the day for the very small amount of money that's involved, but for the potential to save lives in the future, and not have the House divide on an issue that your own deputies have called on this side of the House to have cross-party agreement on? We can have cross-party agreement on this, and we can show you how you can find that money if you want.
I'd make the point again to Deputy Kenny, this matter has been dealt with on private members' motion tonight again, so an opportunity for all members to put their views on the record. But the screening, those who get a vaccine also have to get the screening. The vaccine isn't 100% certain of being able to ensure that cervical cancer doesn't occur. I think it's important we don't use emotional language here either, to be specific. All people who will get a vaccination have to be screened. Screening provides 95% surety against cancer development. And the vaccine doesn't provide that level of surety. So I think it's important not to be suggesting, as some members of the House seem to be suggesting, that the non-provision of a vaccine puts people at risk. The screening programme that's provided provides 95% cover. And it has a far greater percentage of cover than the vaccination itself. So I think really it's important that those facts are stated. And as I say, the screening programme is the best way. There are other countries who don't have these vaccinations. Finland doesn't use it. Sweden doesn't use it. And they have very strong healthcare systems in their countries as well.
Well, I repeat again, Taoiseach, it's an opportunity for you to actually have cross-party agreement on an issue where there is a vaccine that actually prevents cervical cancer. Now, your response there has thrown aside the evidence and the report of HIQA, which says that at least 51 lives can be saved over the period ahead by virtue of the vaccination programme. And it's not just one or other, it is both. It is both vaccination and screening. But the point is that the government seem to have cast aside the fact that this programme will save lives and that this programme, because it costs 10 million to administer the vaccination programme, is being withdrawn by the government on the basis of economics, as distinct from the basis of saving lives. Now, Deputy Ring, in a question there in July, got a response to the fact that there will be 10 million spent this year on special advisors, on press officers and on support for your government ministers. We have evidence of the 8 million spent on consultancy reports. We know that when you were Minister for Finance, you sanctioned payment after payment after payment to the famous computer programme PPARS for the health board systems as it was then. And you also paid out money for the upkeep of voting machines, which a government of which you will remember spent 60 million, which would complete the vaccination programme for 6 years. The point I'm making is that this government have reduced people's lives to economic statistics. The minister beside you announced this with great fanfare in August and put in conditions which he has now withdrawn. So what actually is happening here is that some parents will now be forced, because of concerns, to go and have their children vaccinated at a cost of €500 or €600, and others will not be able to do that. And if it's only in that 5%, if it means saving lives, then this government have withdrawn a programme that we know can save lives, that HICWA says can save lives, and yet because of the cost, you're withdrawing it. Now, this party, for instance, put forward a number of propositions. The pay freeze would bring in 400 million across the public pay sector. Drop another Minister of State is 5 or 6 million. There are so many areas where you could save 10 million euro in the knowledge that you're not just bolstering up bloated administration or facilities for ministers. You're actually putting in place a vaccination programme that will save lives. That's the point. My contention to you is, Taoiseach, you have an opportunity now and today to review this programme and not have every one of those deputies on the government side, many of whom have genuine concerns about this, to be forced to go up the steps and vote against the putting in place of a vaccination programme that we know can save lives. Obviously, a 12-year-old in school today who would be the recipient of the programme which we would support being rolled out will have a life to live. Others won't. And I don't want it said that in that 5%, if that's what it's to be, that the vaccination programme that could have saved their lives will be withdrawn by the government. So you have an opportunity now to admit that this programme works, that you're prepared to review the situation today, and we will support you on what your own members have been calling for, a cross-party support on a health issue where we can prove beyond yea or nay that lives will be saved.
The government motion states that we keep this matter under review, Deputy, and that's the motion that will be supported by the government side. In relation to the point, you're making assertions that simply aren't true, and you're doing it using populist arguments in an effort to win. No, you are using emotional blackmail in an effort to make a political argument. And you're wrong. You're wrong. There is no healthcare system that has brought in a vaccination programme before the full national screening programme was in place. We are putting the national screening programme in place, which will save lives of the age cohort that is relevant in this regard by 300,000 people being screened next year. Now just listen to the facts, but I'm fed up listening to that sort of an argument from you, playing an emotional blackmail. Mock concern by putting out false assertions, trying to create fear amongst the people. You're wrong in what you have to say. You're wrong in what you have to say. The screening programme, the screening programme.
Let him finish. That 52 lives can be saved by the use of this vaccine. Is that your position, Taoiseach?
May I remind you that we are now engaged in leaders' questions, and you are not yet the leader of your party. So the position is that the Taoiseach is replying. The Taoiseach is replying to Deputy Kinney, and that is what he is supposed to do. So please allow him to do so.
The situation is,
without interruption now.
The situation is, Deputy, that no vaccination programme has been rolled out until the full screening programme is rolled out. That's 300,000 people next year. We will keep this matter under review, but it is the screening programme that identifies the precancerous cells that ensures that cervical cancer doesn't take hold. That's the issue, and it's the screening programme that does that. I've listened to what you've had to say. I've listened to what you've had to say, and what you've had to say is false. The situation is that the screening programme provides the means, the greater certainty, where 95% of all cancers can be identified in the screening programme. The vaccination programme is being kept under review, will not go ahead in 2009, but we are keeping that matter under review. And I will make the point. No, that's a wrong statement, Deputy. It's a wrong statement. And it's a nice populist statement to make, and you get plenty of headlines for it, but it's a wrong statement.
Canada or Poppy look to British and talk to Eamon Gilmore.
Ceann Comhairle, the Taoiseach says that he's going to keep this under review. This is very simple. 12-year-old girls either get this vaccination this year or they don't. Those who have the means to get it can get it privately, and those who don't have the means will be put at risk. Now, this vaccination programme and the announcement of it didn't come out of thin air. This was announced by the Minister for Health, and it has been withdrawn by the Minister for Health. And there is a solution to this, and the solution is very simple. The government can go ahead with this. It's not impossible to find the 10 million or whatever it is to allow this vaccination programme to go ahead. Finding the 10 million is not going to put the public finances into disarray. It amounts to no more than maybe $500,000 or thereabouts across all of the government departments, and everybody in this House knows that those kind of savings and adjustments not only can be found, but they are found month in, month out by government departments in respect of a whole range of projects. This is now a political question, Taoiseach. This is about you making a political decision to allow this vaccination programme to proceed and to find the means by which to do it.
Gilmore, with respectful silence, I will ask members to respect the Taoiseach and allow him to reply without interruption.
The issue is as follows. How do we deal with ensuring that people are protected from getting cervical cancer? Providing a screening programme nationally is the first and most vital step in that effort. We are providing an extra €25 million next year to ensure that happens. We're providing another €15 million to make sure that Dr. Tom Keane has the proper treatment regimes in place in the centres of excellence which he has been setting up, in an effort to ensure that many of the problems which have been highlighted in debates in this House as a result of the old system that all you guys seem to defend the whole time, that we don't recur. In relation to that doesn't recur. In relation to Deputy Harney's record as Minister for Health, she has an excellent record in the Department of Health, and has been opposed step by step, every step of the way, by the opposition in respect of any reform she has brought to the health service. She has been opposed day in, day out by those who want to protect the status quo, which is yourselves. That is a fact. In relation to new radically improved consultants' contract, that's been brought forward. A new cancer control programme, which is working and which did require people to be able to say that we would go to adequate centres of excellence and not have various types of cancer control programmes throughout the country. Opposed in a debate in this House only 6 months ago, vociferously, by every backbencher in both parties that I'm looking across at. Second point. Third point, the largest expansion of services ever. The largest expansion